All right, let's pull back the curtain on one of the biggest myths out there: what it actually means to be a millionaire. I want you to forget the reality TV shows and the flashy Instagram posts, because we're about to dive into the surprising, data-backed truth of how real wealth is actually built, all based on the legendary book, The Millionaire Next Door. Seriously, just for a second, what pops into your head? I bet it's something like a giant mansion, right? A brand new Ferrari in the driveway, maybe even a private jet. It's this image of insane spending, high status, and just being seen. That's the story we've all been sold. But what if I told you that for most actual millionaires, that picture is completely, totally wrong? Well, decades of research show that the truth about who is really wealthy is a lot quieter, a lot more stealthy, and you know what? It's also way more achievable than you probably think. Now, we're not just guessing here. This whole explainer is based on the incredible, groundbreaking work of two researchers, Thomas Stanley and William Danko. These guys didn't just sit in an office and theorize. They went out and surveyed over 1,000 real-life millionaires to find out exactly how they live and how they built their fortunes. And what they found was, well, it was a bombshell. 80%. That's how many of the millionaires in their study were completely self-made, first-generation rich. We're talking about people who didn't inherit a dime. They built their wealth from scratch, completely shattering that old myth that you have to be born into money. And this leads us to the single most important lesson from all their work. You ready for it? A high income does not make you wealthy. Let me say that again. Wealth is not about how much you make, it's about how much you keep and what you do with it. It's how you can have a doctor earning $500,000 a year who's totally broke, while a school teacher on a modest salary can retire a millionaire. So that begs the question, right? How can you tell if you're on the right track? How do you measure your own progress toward building real wealth? Well, Stanley and Danko came up with a surprisingly simple little formula to do exactly that. Okay, here it is. You take your age, you multiply it by your annual income before taxes, and then you just divide the whole thing by 10. So, for example, let's say you're 40 years old and you make $100,000 a year. You'd multiply 40 by 100,000, that's 4 million, and then divide by 10. Your expected net worth should be around $400,000. That's the benchmark. And this little formula basically splits everyone into two groups. On one side, you have what they call prodigious accumulators of wealth, or PAWs. These are the rock stars who have a net worth that's double their expected value, or even more. On the other side, you've got the under-accumulators of wealth, the UAWs. These folks have less than half of their expected net worth. Put it this way, PAWs are amazing at turning their income into wealth. UAWs are amazing at turning their income into, well, stuff. So what's the difference? What are the PAWs doing that the UAWs just aren't? It's not magic. The research boiled it down to 7 core habits. This right here. This is the secret sauce. This is the blueprint for building real, lasting wealth. Habit number 1 is the absolute foundation. If you don't get this, nothing else matters. It's simple. They live well below their means. I'm talking way below. This is all about discipline. PAWs typically have at least 20% of their income automatically going into savings and investments. They keep their housing costs under 25%. This frees up a ton of cash to build wealth, not just to prop up an expensive lifestyle. So let's run through the first 2 habits. We've got number 1, live below your means. Number 2, they're efficient with their time and energy when it comes to money. They plan, they budget, they pay attention. Number 3, and this one is huge, they value financial independence way, way more than showing off social status. And number 4, their parents didn't constantly bail them out with money. They had to learn to stand on their own 2 feet, and that made them strong. And it continues. Number 5, they pass these lessons on, raising their own kids to be financially independent, breaking that cycle of need. Number 6, they're incredible at finding business opportunities in places most people ignore. Think really unglamorous but profitable fields, like commercial cleaning or scrap metal recycling. And that leads right into number 7. They chose the right occupation. And for about 2/3 of the millionaires they studied, that meant being their own boss. Let's paint a picture here. The typical PAW, they're driving a 3-year-old Ford F-150. They live in a nice but not extravagant house in a regular middle-class neighborhood. The UAW, who might even make more money, is leasing a brand new Mercedes, living in a McMansion to impress their friends, and is loaded with debt from buying status symbols.
See the difference? One is playing offense with their money, building their net worth. The other is playing defense, just trying to keep up appearances.
And this brings us to one of the biggest potholes on the road to wealth, a trap that stops even really high earners dead in their tracks. The authors actually gave it a pretty brilliant name. They call it economic outpatient care, or EOC. You know exactly what this is. It's when well-off parents are constantly giving financial handouts to their grown children, for a down payment, for a car, you name it. It feels like a loving, helpful thing to do, but the data tells a completely different and kind of shocking story. And here's the crazy paradox of EOC. It ends up creating dependency. It teaches adult children how to be fantastic spenders of money, but it doesn't teach them how to earn it, save it, or invest it. The research couldn't be clearer. These financial gifts actually end up crippling the recipient's ability to ever build real wealth for themselves. Okay, so we've torn down the myths, we've pointed out the traps. So what now? How do you actually put all this into practice and become a PAW yourself? Well, let's distill it all down into an actionable blueprint you can start using today. Here it is, your 5-step plan. First, as soon as this is over, run the numbers. Calculate your expected net worth and get an honest look at where you stand. Second, build that PAW budget. Keep housing low and automate your savings, at least 20%. Third, and this is a big mindset shift, stop buying status symbols and start buying assets. Buy things that will pay you back. Fourth, look for opportunities where no one else is looking, those boring but profitable businesses. And finally, number 5, teach this stuff to your family. Break the cycle. So in the end, it all comes down to this one powerful question. When you look at your financial choices, your car, your house, your spending habits, are they actually building your wealth, or are they just building your status? The answer to that question could be the key to your entire financial future.